More now on the imminent death of the e-toll system at midnight tomorrow night. Professor Rennie Naidoo is at the School of Business Science at Wits University. He's been writing about this issue for many years. Professor Naidoo, good day to you and thank you for your time. I mean, you wrote over a decade ago about how important public consultation was in trying to bring in a project like e-tolls. It's finally being switched off. Do you think anyone in government's learned the lesson from e-tolls, that you can't govern if you don't consult?
Stephen, just to start off, what wonderful news, what fantastic news for South African consumers, the South African citizen, Outer, Wayne Duvenake and his team, and a few academics who had the courage of their convictions to challenge the government on their decision to go with e-tolls. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, and we can talk a lot about maybe just now about the elections and whether that kind of influenced this decision, because for many years during election time it felt like musical chairs, there was rumors, there were these rumors that e-toll was going to be scrapped, and finally it's happened. And we've been saying for a long time it just doesn't make economic sense. Pay for use. It's not kind of this one-dimensional thing that fits all solutions. Pretty chuffed that this bad idea is finally ending.
There's some odd statements even now. Insofar as I know, there's no provision for people who paid e-tolls to be refunded. The Transport Minister says today that people who incurred debt, who owe money on their e-tolls, are still liable to pay it under the law. I'm no expert, but that seems madly unfair to me. They're saying that people who pay their money must pay, but they don't owe anyone money. That can't be right.
Yeah, the issue of fairness is definitely a big one there. It's just the kinds of decisions that get made around this gets weirder by the day. But as far as I could tell, and I think a legal person will be in a better position to speak on that, it's grossly unfair what's going on. I don't think people who pay the e-tolls will be refunded, but continuing with payments and that type of stuff just doesn't make sense to me. There's all kind.
Sorry, you couldn't get people to pay for e-tolls while they were operating. You're not going to get them to pay once they're not operating.
What was the kind of compliance rate? I don't think it was more than 20%. I'm not sure that Outer has been touting some numbers. It wasn't many, and it seemed like it was just the car rental companies and those who felt obliged to pay. But most citizens were quite clear about their views on e-tolls. It wasn't they weren't going to comply. So kudos to you.
As I understand it, Gauteng has to pay 1/3 of the cost of the highways, and the Premier, Panyaza Lesufi, I think, has said there's no way they can just make that payment in one go. It's too much money. Is there any certainty how that's going to be dealt with? I get the sense that this could now be a point of contention between the province and national government for some time.
Yeah, it's a weird one. When I initially wrote about this, I was thinking that, SANRAL is doing a great job on the national road networks, and I think most of us wouldn't mind for the long distance travel to Cape Town and Durban, if you're into, doing the kind of scenic route, driving by car, we were not kind of, resistant to paying for tolling. But this idea that your urban roads could be tolled, and I know that there are other countries that do this type of stuff, but we can't benchmark against, what the Americans are doing or what the Europeans are doing. We have a very unique context, a very unique historical context, and so you can't just apply these kind of solutions like, this is best practice, or we benchmarked against other countries, and this is the way to go. It was really a bad idea.
And the elections, if the elections weren't coming, would they still be e-tolls? And
sorry.
No. Go on.
Yeah, I was just thinking it would be intriguing to get a political scientist to come onto your show and speak more on this issue, because for me, as I mentioned, and perhaps I'm being slightly cynical now, but we've seen two major moves by the ruling party, and the one is we see grants payment increase, And then we see, and you know, that speaks to the marginalized population. And now, you know, the middle class has been complaining about e-tolls. And so, you know, I wonder to what extent this move speaks to you know, the ruling party losing these voters. So, you know, it could be an interesting one to investigate.
Thank you very much indeed. Really do appreciate the time. Professor Rennie Naidoo at the School of Business Science at Wits University.